Namaste. Welcome to day 16 of our 30 days of yoga. We're going to be looking at a sequence to ease out the neck and shoulders. So this is an often tight area of the body. So hopefully you'll feel the benefits of this practice. So we're just going to start dropping the one ear towards the shoulder. So you're sitting up nice and tall, comfortable seat. Just let the head kind of drop. So ear towards the shoulder, trying to keep kind of level so we're not kind of going over. Just feel that stretch along the side of the neck. You might feel it into the jaw a little bit as well. This is the first kind of couple of or few exercises are good ones to do even when you're sat at a desk working. So just feel that that stretch. If you want to feel it a little bit more, you can take a little pressure and maybe point the opposite arm away. You get that into the shoulder a little bit more. Breathing. Always remembering to breathe. Coming back slowly to center. Exactly the same to the other side. So just first of all the weight of the head, just the weight of the head to carry it over and to feel that stretch along the side of the neck. If you want to add a little bit more kind of weight, a little bit of pressure, just taking 1-2 fingers, adding a little bit of weight and maybe pointing the opposite hand away. And then you can feel that stretch a little bit more coming into the shoulders. Just breathing. Okay, come back to center. We're just going to look over this shoulder. So over the right shoulder. Again, shoulders relaxed. And just feel that stretch along the side. So jawline into the side of the neck, coming back to center. Over to the other side. This is a part of the body where stress and anxiety can manifest as physical tension. So that's why it's quite often that you can feel tight around the neck and the shoulders. Coming back to center, and then just a couple of circles, so semicircles really. So we'll drop the right ear towards the shoulder and just take a quarter turn first of all, nice and slow. Be aware of those really kind of sweet spots where it feels like a little bit more going on, a little bit more holding. So dropping the chin towards the chest. Remember, still sitting up tall, not sort of sagging into it. Go with that next quarter turn. So the other ear towards the other shoulder. Again, shoulders are relaxed. How heavy the head feels. Coming back, that quarter turn. Back to center, so chin towards the chest again. Remember to breathe throughout and then coming back to your start point. Okay, and then coming back up. And we're just going to take a couple of shoulder shrugs. So just hugging, shrugging the shoulders up towards the ears and then drop. And same again, shrugging and then letting it drop. And then one last time, just really drawing those shoulders up and then letting them drop. Okay, and we'll take the hands or fingertips to the shoulders and we're just going to take a few circles, so as big a circle as you can, and you should feel like we're really getting into the range of motion around the shoulder joint. You might feel a little restricted, you're just going to do what you can, see what feels good. So a few times one way and then a few times the other, so nice big juicy circles. You're getting the circulation into the joint, working to increase the flexibility, the range of motion around the joints. Okay, and that just makes you feel more comfortable. Then we're going to breathe the arms up. So just going to breathe the arms up overhead, interlace the fingers, turn those palms away, press down through the sit bones and reach up through the palms. Breathing here. And then taking the hands down slightly back. So again, you feel you're opening into those shoulders. Interlace the hands behind the back, open away, so you can feel that stretch across the chest here. Okay, and then if you want to fold forwards to get a little bit more more movement, then you can do. You might go a little deeper, so you might find you go all the way down and opening up, or you might just hover forwards and then coming slowly up to sitting up. Okay, Let's just take a couple of circles around. And then we're going to come into a seated twist. So you can just stay as you are. I'm just going to turn, so just an easy twist, nice and open. So one hand, opposite knee or back of the hand, and just lifting up through the heart center and gaze towards that back shoulder. You are kind of working with the whole spine really. So you're getting that twist into the neck, so the cervical spine. Breathing as deeply as you can. And then coming slowly back to center. Okay, you can change across the legs if you wish. Exactly the same to the other side. So one hand on the knee or back of the hand across. Just lifting up nice and tall again. So just so you're not like this, but creating that length through the spine. And then your gaze towards the back shoulder, or going in that direction. Mostly that twist is coming from the belly button upwards, not forcing too much into the low back. And breathing. Okay. And then coming slowly back to center. Okay, we're going to come onto all fours, a couple of cat-cows, and then we're going to move into dolphin. So this is a good one to work with strength really into the shoulders and a little bit obviously stretching. So let's just come onto the hands and knees. We'll connect with the breath. So as you're breathing in, your gaze is forwards, just that lovely release through the low back. And then as you're breathing out, you're tucking under, so draw the belly button towards the spine, bottom under, chin towards the chest. Really kind of press into the mat, feel that stretch across the shoulder blades, back of the shoulders. And then breathing in, opening through the front of the body, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, tucking under, really open across that upper back. And then come back to neutral. And we're going to set up for Dolphin, Avadanta Shasana. So we're going to come onto our forearms. You're going to have your elbows forearm distance apart, but clasping the hands. We're going to keep the knees down, unless you want to make it stronger straight away, and you can come up. You can tuck the toes and come up. Lift the bottom and the hips. We will move towards that, but if you want to come straight into it, then do. I'm going to keep my knees down for this first few times. So knees come down. You're just going to move over your chin kind of above the fist, or maybe a little bit further beyond. You're working in a bit, we can feel a bit more strength here into the core and into the shoulders, but you can stop here. And then as you exhale, you're just pressing back, and you should feel a stretch through the shoulders. Breathing in, coming forwards, again maybe chin over the fist, maybe a little bit beyond. Exhale, pressing back and opening up the chest, opening up the shoulders. One last time, breathing in. And then exhale, coming back. And then we're going to tuck the toes, so you can just repeat what we just did. If that felt like enough, repeat what we did. If you want to take it a little bit deeper, you're going to just pop up, bottom and the hips lifted, and then exactly the same, breathing in, maybe just over the fists is enough, maybe a little bit beyond. Exhale and really lift up through the bottom and the hips. So it's kind of similar to downward dog, except we're on the forearms. We'll just do this twice more, breathing in, exhale, press back, lift up bottom and hips. So stretch into the hamstrings as well. One last time, breathing in, exhale, pressing back. Okay, then we're going to take the knees down, untuck the toes, and come into child's pose. So you can keep it active, coming onto the fingertips. You're going to work more into the shoulders this way. Head towards the mat, or just take the arms by the sides of the legs. Okay, your choice. You can let the shoulders kind of melt, soften around the knees here. Let's just take a couple of breaths. Okay, and then we'll come up into downward facing dog. So you've got the hands to the mat, lifting up, downward facing dog. Now you can really feel that stretch. So with that awareness onto the shoulders in this sequence, you can be kind of aware of how we're really opening out the shoulders here, creating length through the spine and through the hamstrings, back of the legs. Okay, pressing down through the heels, so your heels might touch down, or they might just kind of move towards the mat. And then we'll just take the feet towards the hands, so step, step, or a little spring if you wish, into Uttanasana. Let the head, let the upper body hang, so you might be swinging or you might have your hands to the mat. Just shift the weight, maybe backwards and forwards a little. You can feel that opening through the back of the legs. You're letting the upper body hang. It feels nice and heavy. Stretching out through the sides, releasing any holding through the upper body. Okay. And then we're going to release the hands to the hips, nice and slowly up to standing. So from the top of the mat, we're going to move through one round of Surya Namaskar beats. Apologies if I'm off the top, but we're kind of bending into it and then coming a little bit lower. So we're breathing in, sitting back into Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, folding forwards, hinging from the hips, breathing in, half lift. Exhale, releasing down. You've got the option to jump back to plank or step, step to plank. So your choice. So nice and strong here. Do be mindful of the low back. So I wouldn't jump if you've got any issues with the low back. You're back to plank or modified with the knees down. Keep those elbows hugging in, lowering down through into your Sphinx Cobra upward facing dog. Your choice. Shoulders down, shoulders back. Okay. We're tucking the toes, pressing back, downward facing dog. Again, be aware of that stretch, that opening around the shoulders here. We're setting up for Warrior 1, Virabhadrasana 1, so you've got one leg out behind, swing through between the hands, swiveling, planting that back heel down, and then moving up into Warrior 1. So keep a bend through that front leg, maybe the arms overhead, maybe the hands to prayer at heart center, hands together or apart. So your choice, depends how the shoulders feel, but pop those shoulders down and bend into it. Taking a couple of breaths. Okay, good. Taking the hands down, either side of the front foot, back to plank or modify. Hug those elbows in, lowering down, coming through into your back bend, tucking the toes, moving back into downward facing dog. So you're back into your Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Again, shoulders away from the ears here, so mindful or be aware if you're kind of bunching up around the ears and create that space. Taking the other leg, so whichever leg you didn't do out behind, swinging through between the hands. So setting up for Warrior 1. Back heel plants down, nice and grounded before you bring the arms into position. So your choice again, whichever feels good. And breathing. Taking a couple of breaths here. You can feel that openness through the calf, in the back leg, strength through the front leg, and nice hip flexor stretch here. Shoulders down, breathing, taking the hands down, either side of the front foot, back to plank, lowering down one last time, Chaturanga Dandasana, through into your back bend, so whatever feels good in your body. Okay, tucking the toes, pressing back, downward facing dog again, and we're going to be here for about 3 breaths. This is take nice 3 long, deep breaths. And again, those little adjustments, lifting up through the bottom and the hips, drawing the belly back towards the thighs, so that kind of lifting up and pressing back. Nice wide spread of the fingers, pressing into the base of the fingers rather than too much weight into the heel of the hands. One last breath, I think we'll do it. And then we're going to bring the feet to the hands, so step, step, or a little spring back into Uttanasana, breathing in, half lift. Exhale, releasing. Hands come through into chair pose. Okay, good. And then exhale. Hands to prayer, the heart center. So it definitely gets your heart rate up a little. You can feel kind of circulation going, nice warming through the body. We're going to come into eagle pose, Garudasana. So this is a nice one for getting into the shoulders. I'm going to give you a few options in terms of where you bring your arms. So let's get the arms in place first. If we take the arms to the side, you're going to take your left arm under, right arm over. So you're crossing at the elbows. There's lots of kind of different variations depending on how you feel in your body. So you might just take the hands onto the shoulders. You can just kind of draw into those elbows a little, so you're stretching across the back. You might have the back of the hands to touch. I'm just bending down to make sure you can see. We do bend into it in a minute anyway. Back of the hands possibly to touch, or maybe palms of the hands touching, and then your thumbs towards your brow center. Now we're going to bend into it properly. So we're sitting into the pose. You're going to take, so where your left arm is under, your left leg is coming over, okay? So you might have the toes touching just lightly to the floor, maybe to the low leg, possibly hooking around the calf, okay? And then maybe bring the thumbs to the brow center, or maybe just have your drishti looking directly ahead. So you're bending into it, but sitting back rather than into those knees. That will just keep your knee a little safer. So find your drishti, breathe, soften those toes. If you want to go a little deeper, you can kind of bend so the hand comes towards you and you're resting your chin onto the hand, back of the hand, and then you might go a little lower into the pose, so elbow resting onto that thigh. We'll just take a couple of breaths, so wherever you are. Remember, this is an option. And then you're going to release, so nice and slow, just a couple of breaths. Release the hands, release the legs. Give everything a bit of a shake, quite strong through the standing legs. Or the standing leg. Exactly the same to the other side. So arms out, it will be your right arm under, so crossing at the elbows here, back of the hands, palms of the hands. Don't worry where you are. Where you are is where you're meant to be. You just your kind of start point. If you're quite flexible, it does require quite a lot of flexibility, shoulders, elbows, wrists. So don't worry if it's not quite there yet. Then we're sitting back, so sitting into it, and then your right leg is going to come over. Maybe tops of just touching the toes lightly, low leg, hooking. And then maybe thumbs to the brow center, or you might just want to keep your drishti, your focal point, just looking ahead, okay? And breathing and sitting back rather than forward. That's just to protect the knees. You should feel, it's good for the shoulders, good, you're getting a nice stretch. You should feel that across the upper back, so whichever arm placement you're in, you should feel a nice stretch across the upper back. Okay, it's really kind of drawing everything forward to create that stretch. Quite strong again through the legs as well. So there's always more than one thing going on in any posture. Just a focus on the shoulders. Okay. Oh yes, and the possibility, almost forgot, to take the chin onto the back of the hand and then the lowering down. Let's just take a couple of breaths. Remember, this is just an option. You can stay as you are, you can come out if you need to. Okay, and then slowly up, slowly release, unravel, shake the legs, and then we'll come into Prasarita Padottanasana. So this is a nice counter pose. Feet parallel. Let's take the hands behind the back, unnatural clasp. So clasp your hands and move along one, okay? Just kind of challenging the brain a little. Open across the chest, hinge from the hips, and fold forwards. So again, just to where feels good. Shake the head, nod the head. Any issues with the shoulders, you're just going to keep the hands to the hips or just touching onto the legs or the floor. Okay, and then release those hands. Just let the hands come down to touch the mat. We'll just bring those heels in, heel toe in a little bit, and we'll just come down to sitting. Okay, so just find your comfortable seated position. So we've got the heart rate up a little, we've worked a little bit more focus around the shoulders. So again, just trying to keep these sequences as short as I can to make it easy to fit into your day. We're just going to take one last stretch across the shoulders. So if we just take your left arm across, you're going to hold, or you can kind of hook a little, not on the elbow, but behind, maybe even the other side. So whichever, either way. And soften those shoulders, so we're not bunching up like this, but keep that distance, and then just feel that kind of stretch across the upper back, around the shoulders into the upper arm. And breathe. Okay. And then release, and then exactly the same to the other side. So again, it might be before the elbow, or it might be behind the elbow, just not on the elbow. And keep those shoulders relaxed so we're not creating tension. And just feel that stretch, so you're coming from the upper back across around the shoulder, upper arm. Okay, and then back to center. So again, we'll close our practice with our Namaste, but I'll just thank you for choosing to join me again, and for making that decision, that choice to roll out your mat and practice with me. Thank you very much. Namaste. Okay, thank you, and I will see you again tomorrow.